Here we go, right out the rip. Right out the rip. That's a big boy card.
And the breakers start
That's Pudge in the feature case green glow. Let me clip that thing.
Oh, guys, sorry, I peeked it. That is purple down there, guys. That is a Hex Auto. No, it's not a Hex Auto! It is a Brawl Hambo!
Pudge in orange, wow. What is glow? 135, Steve Peavy.
Hey everybody, this is Discord user Slappy White with Tex Hooper, and let's get to it, Tex. We don't have to do the intro anymore because that is the intro. Just so you got to get used to it. You got to go right into it. So who do we have today, Tex?
Let's do it. Let's do it. We got a great lineup for us today. We got Mainly Breaks is here. I always want to call him Manly. He's just so studly.
Good morning,
He's manly
everyone.
in his holiday sweater. Love it.
Feeling very Christmassy.
Yeah. Who else do we have, Slappy? We got Big U.
That's right.
Right? He's here with us today.
That's right.
Morning, guys. How's everybody doing?
Excellent. Very good. How you doing?
Great. Not as cold as all of you guys.
It's chilly here in Syracuse.
Speaking of not cold, Tex, we also have in Hot Atlanta. We've got Eric from Card Society.
What's
Eric,
up,
how are
guys?
you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, well, it is cold and snowy, and I'm sick up here in Syracuse, New York, but the show must go on, so here we are. How's everybody doing? Did everybody have a good week of breaking?
Yeah, fun. Always fun with the new. Still has that newness to it, the shine, you know.
It's got the new car smell still?
Yeah, pulling cards, seeing people pull cards that you haven't seen before. Always exciting.
Wonderful. Anybody have any big hits? Any notable hits?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it comes in waves, right? So, yeah, I mean, the other night we had a real good break hit at a Flavor Flav auto, which we were fun, excited about. Just to have that alt kind of sidekick, rearing its head, that was fun. So, yeah, it's been good, man. It's been good.
Awesome. Anybody else have anything notable?
We had a Carlton Fisk Pudge Green Glow, and I don't think people realize how rare they actually are to get a feature Green Glow.
That was what we saw in the clip, I think, right?
You got it.
Yeah,
Still
that was awesome.
That one.
That's
I think that's a big part of this, guys, is like letting people know the rarity of these cards and the individual ones, especially like one that jumps out to me is the Silverbacks, right? I call them the Silverbacks, the silver Battlefuls, because those are exclusive to your hobby and your jumbo, right? And before they were a dime a dozen. Now with the Griffey set, that they're not. So, yeah, those are fun to hit too.
Speaking of rarity, before we came on live here, we were kind of chatting a little, and Slappy hit us with a little bit of trivia about how many one-of-ones we think there are in the collection, the Griffey set. He gave us the answer, so we all know what the answer is. But there are 899 one-of-ones in the Griffey set. What do you guys think of that? Is that too many? Is it enough? Does it hurt the rarity? What do you guys think?
It feels like a good number to me. I think if it's under 1,000, it's somewhat obtainable, if it's super low, you're not really going to see those pop out too much. But I feel like at this rate, it's not something you're seeing on a daily basis, but at least maybe a couple pop up a week as the product gets torn into. But still, $8.99, that's not a high number in the grand scheme of things when you compare it to a lot of the sports card releases that literally have thousands of one-of-ones. Every player has, 15 to 20 different one-of-ones. So I feel like we're not really diluting anything at that number yet.
Yeah, Eric, I agree 100%. And what I like about that number too, it gives all collectors an opportunity. There we go. Nice hat, Eric. It gives everyone an opportunity to pick up a 101 because I say all the time, I collect most Yankees. I call it the poor man's collection of Donnie Baseball. I just want one of every type. So I just want one of one. If there was only one out there, it would be really difficult for me to do.
Yeah, I think the excitement of hitting one, not only in a break, but when you're pulling it individually, is an experience all in itself. We've been fortunate to we pulled one when Allison and I were doing a personal rip. We pulled one, and then in the break we pulled one in one of our breaks. So I think having the $8.99 is good because it shares. Look, we're all here because we love boba, right? And we love the community and we love the product. That's one big part of it is that excitement. And if hitting that 101 and seeing it in the break, I think that just helps the whole boba community and spreading of the product. And $8.99, I don't think it's too high. It's just, more fun.
It seems like with the $8.99 number, it seems like we should be seeing more of them come out. It seems like that's a lot, and kind of like you would think you'd be seeing more 101s hit. But I guess, like you said, it's such a vast production spread out over such a wide market that it really does, kind of dilute it. So those, even though there's 900 of them, it still makes it hard, a hard chase. It still makes it a hard hit.
Yeah. Slappy, why not 900? Who's the one they left out?
Well, I will say the point that I want to make about it is, when I see the number $8.99, that seems like a lot to me. And I appreciate Eric bringing it back. And he looks at Bo Battle Arena compared to Panini, compared to Topps, Fanatics. So he sees it the same, which is great to put that in reference. And that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Their print run is so small. So their 101s compared to these people is small. But I guess the biggest thing is when I asked everybody before we went live, how many 101s there are, a number of folks said, I think 350 was one of the number, but nobody guessed that high. And so if it feels like that there are too many, people would be saying, oh, there's got to be at least 2,000 101s. The fact that everybody underguessed means that it's probably the right mix. I love what you guys are saying about accessibility. The fact that you still have a chance to hit a 101. You don't feel like you have a chance. You legitimately have a chance. So, this question is like, the number seems too big for me, but you guys are convincing me. I think that's probably the right number for the set.
And this number, the 900 number, $8.99 number, contains not just the supers and the super autos, which we know are 101s, but all the secret autos too. And do we know what all the secret autos in Griffey are yet? Or are there some that we still don't know what some of the secret 101s are?
That's a good question. So I'm thinking about what we know from last set. We know the features in the hex for like Grand Mausoleum, certainly in 101. We know that the pink is a secret 101. Now the Great Grand Mausoleum is also, I think it's confirmed a 101 for the features and highlights too. Beyond that,
the red.
That's on the hex Grand Mausoleum.
Great
Grand Mausoleum.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting. Yeah. So but we don't think there's any 101s out there we don't know about yet.
Hey, maybe.
I guess is what I'm getting to. Yeah, well, I guess how would we know, right?
Yeah.
Until it gets hit and somebody confirms it is a secret 101.
Yeah,
I guess we'll have to get with Eric on that.
Yeah, until Slappy, shares all the secret information. It gives you, it's like a trail, right? It gives you a little piece here or there. So
yeah, breadcrumbs. He's like Little Red Riding Hood.
That's
right. You would text. You bring up a good point. Like, the joke is it's not secret. It's that most people, not most, some people know about it. And I do wonder about that. I'm like, why would they not every set do there's got to be some secret they haven't told about it. But that also brings up a different question. And you see the comment from the people just joining the community is they say, well, why is that secret? People don't know what they have. And I'm torn on that because people get upset that they feel like, hey, I traded away something that was much more valuable and I didn't know its value because the company didn't tell me. They didn't put 101 on it like they do on the super. But conversely, Frenchie has always said, collect what you love. And Frenchie's a huge collector, but he also, this is not a business. He's not he's not putting a dollar value on each card. So you could have a 101 that's, Dr. J 101 is going to be worth more than a Rotter 101, at least to Tex Hooper. And it's for you to determine what it is. But I mean, how do you guys feel about the new people coming in? They hit a secret, they hit a rad hex, and it's a featured hero, so it's a signer, and that's a secret 1 of 1. And they are like, this is cool, but now with the powers getting so low, right? It's like a 130 power, so the power doesn't excite them. It's a rad, and they trade it away, and then they find out a month later, oh, that was a secret 1 of 1. Crap, I could have gotten 10 times as much as I did that I sold it. So how do you guys feel about that?
I think it's part of the fun of boba. It's part of the mystique. Same with that bow at a 99 auto that, people weren't necessarily aware of what the value of that card was. I mean, you have sales on eBay for under 2,000 for that card. And now, it's upwards of 10,000 because you get a blast box with entry in that tournament. So, I do understand how some people are like, oh, I undervalued my card, but at the end of the day, they still probably got paid for it and they still probably made money on it. So I think it's part of the fun, not knowing, discovering, figuring out what's what. And, there's always fluctuating values in the card market. And I feel like with boba, the cards can fluctuate in value based on, gameplay and based on what tournaments there are and based on what sort of rules they put in place. So for me, it's exciting, and I enjoy the discovery of that aspect of the game.
Yeah, I think it's part of boba, right? The mystery and the intrigue of it, where I think it's intentional because if you hit something and oh, this looks good, this looks different, I haven't seen this one before, then you got one of two things, like, oh, let's move it real quick, or the collector, which boba and the whole community really wants, you're going to start digging. You're going to start going on Discord. You're going to start asking questions. You're going to go on breaks. You're going to be in the chat room. And, just like we had a learning curve when we all jumped into this and something new, the only way you learn is if you roll your sleeves up and you dig into it. So I think it's good. I think it's nice, and it kind of tells you. And the fun thing is, to me, is the more you dig on something, you find other things you weren't even looking for. So I think that's fun.
I agree with both of you guys. I think in the one hand, I can see why you'd be a little upset if you were new and maybe you sold something. At the same time, I don't really have any sympathy for paper hands that want to flip. You want to flip, that's fine, and that's kind of the game you're going to play. And it is really fun to think about. So, like, for instance, when we stream, here's a good example. We know the mixtape for the feature was at a 25, and we would always speculate on what they were. Like, well, is steel 10, is it 12? And we just always have that conversation. It's another fun point of conversation about boba. And I think it is really fun to think about. And I kind of don't want to know the exact, because you don't have to spoon feed me all the information. It's fun for the community.
Yeah. And mainly to touch on that, like going on the mixtape conversation. So we had, hex, glow, steel, ice, and fire. And we're like, oh, okay, well, this one's got to be 5 and this one's got to be 12. Well, now you throw brawl into the mix with the mixtape. So where are we at now? Like who got some taken away to be added to the brawl, and I enjoy it. I like that aspect of it.
Totally.
Yeah. I not that I disagree with you guys, but I guess I disagree.
Yeah, please. This isn't a love fest.
I want a checklist.
You want to?
I want to know. I want a checklist. I want to know how many cards of each there are. I want to know what I'm chasing, what I'm looking for, what I'm hitting. I don't know. That's just how I am. Thank you. Do you think we know they what do they number? They number the super, or do they? Yeah, they number the supers 1 of 1s. They don't number all the 1 of 1s, and they don't number. They number a few of the other ones to 10 and 5. Do we think they should number everything, or do you like the way they do it, where even something's like very limited, less than 10 or less than 5, they don't get a number? The card isn't numbered. You just have to.
I think it would help some situations. I wouldn't go crazy on the numbering, but I like how they number the autos. The Hex, out of 10, Glow 25, Fire and Ice out of 50. I wouldn't mind seeing that on some of the other foils. I wouldn't do like the Fire Tracks. I think they're out of 99, and a lot of people don't realize that. And they oftentimes get sold for much lower than they should, especially a featured Fire Tracks, I think is less than 10, maybe even 5. Yeah. So, having something like that, in the bottom corner of the card or something, I think would definitely help and probably increase the values of some of the cards that get moved on a daily basis. But yeah, the odds, having some sort of odds would be helpful, I think, especially in a breaking situation.
I think maybe I love that idea, and maybe narrow it down to just the featured, because they're already separated. The features are already separated from your regular heroes, separated even more. And I think it would be an educational thing. Like, Eric, I'm with you. Like when we're doing our single shows and we're moving Fire Tracks and stuff like that, and they go for a lot less than I think that they're worth. I'm like, well, man, is it my fault because I didn't educate people what this was? Or, overall, could we do a better job of just kind of, but that's the mistake of it, right?
And that's the hard part, Tex, because when we started with the alpha set a year ago, Thanksgiving 2024,
it's crazy.
Is you knew right away what a 1-of-1 was. And what's interesting now that I find is you watch the chatter in Discord, people have been around since the beginning. People like all of you who hit it all the time. First thing you have to say is like, is this a 1-of-1? Because there's 899 of them, and it's hard. And the whole highlighted heroes where they don't have autos, but they get treated like featured heroes, like signers, so they do have it. And now we have the alternate pose, which has been introduced. So that brings into question, like, is it their alternate pose that's the one of sidekicks are another one that's hard to go. But I will say, I like what you guys were saying, Jason. You were talking about, people look into the cards to determine like, hey, is this a one? You're gonna start analyzing like Eric, you were saying the Fire Tracks, like this is one out of how many. They don't know that unless they go down that rabbit hole and research it. We're still talking about people in the community, people like yourselves who know to research that, because there's always a story behind a story. Is the Bo Jackson Battle Team missing a marketing opportunity by placing something inside every box? I know Tex, and by the way, I like the two people in the audience arguing. You had Scott. He said, I like to see the odds. He's with Tex. He wants a checklist. Bo's like, I like it the way it is. Don't change it. But maybe there's a middle ground between those two. And you could put something in every box that basically says, when you rip this, before you think you don't have something great, go down this rabbit hole and find and I don't know what resource they can use, but my point is to give people a warning. What you have might seem like not a big deal, but it might be a really big deal. Now, normally if a company does that, you're going to go down the rabbit hole and you're like, well, it's like the Christmas Story where he does the decoder and it's like, eat more popcorn or whatever that, in the Christmas
drink
story.
More Ovaltine. God almighty. How do you not
more popcorn?
Know that?
Because I'm live on TV and I'm not, hey, I got it almost right. But
one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time.
But my point is if for a big company like that, that's the want at the end. If Bo Battle Arena were to put something in telling people, it does a couple things, right? It encourages people to go down that rabbit hole, and they will find gold at the end of it. It's not going to be the Ovaltine. They will find something great at the end. And also that's kind of, I think you guys are being unsympathetic to people who are arriving today, where you're just like, yeah, well, you know what? Like, it's not paper handset. Like literally, if I gave you a rock and like, hey, Seth, I'm dropping off a bag of rocks, and like, you didn't know there's uranium in it. Like, you're glowing a little bit, but like, they're highly valuable. Like, why would you think rocks are valuable? Like, you can't blame people who don't know anything about Bo Battle. Paper hands is, you think it's expensive. You think it's valuable now, but the price is going to go down. That's not what's happening with these people. They just don't know the collectability. They don't know that they can't rip another mega box and get the same card in it. That's the hard part. When you rip your first mega box, you don't know that you just got a case hit. So I would love to see a card in every package. It's a great marketing opportunity. It's a great product. When people go down that rabbit hole, they will see, yes, in fact, I should have researched these more because, oh my God, I would have given these cards to my kid to put in his bike spokes.
What if it's a QR code, like to the Discord? Because a lot of the stuff, if we're not going to, no, I hear your point. And if we're going to put something in there, it can't give all the information because I don't know. We've established that I think they're just not going to do that.
Yeah.
But in the Discord, you can find out some information. So QR code, Discord, some kind of language about go research, have fun, or whatever. Because if you do a little bit, they drop enough breadcrumbs that we have an idea. For instance, back in July, I remember French was on one of the streams, and he had mentioned that the rad glows were out of 5. We didn't know that. You know, those instances happen. And the rad glows for non-featured, I think he said were out of 25, right? And we had no idea then. So they do drop hints from time to time, and it's a fair point, Slappy. Is someone going to go do all that? I don't know. I'm a little bit biased because I'm kind of psycho about this stuff. You know, I wake up and I check what's sold overnight, and I'm like, oh, what's sold? I missed it. So, you know, I'm a little bit different.
I agree with Slappy. I think bringing it, as we're bringing in so many new people to this, especially with Griffey. Like I was in a card shop a couple weeks ago when Griffey first dropped. There was a card shop an hour away from me that got Griffey. So I drove down there and I got it. And I was talking with the guys, and I bought a couple hobbies and a couple megas. And there was another guy there.
Bought one hobby. You bought one
product.
hobby. You bought one hobby.
Didn't he go back though?
Oh, right. That's right. I bought one hobby that
That's
time.
a different story
'cause
after. Go ahead.
My wife was with me. I bought 2 megas, 1 hobby, and 4 glass boosters.
And wait, since you get it, the hobbies cost what?
I got them at retail, $375.
I didn't even know
I-
what retail price is.
There is
Wow,
like,
very
retail
nice.
price.
Well, I was charged $375. But my point is, there was another guy there looking at it, and we kind of got talking about it. And he was buying, you know, like Topps Chrome or whatever the baseball release that just came out was. And, you know, I was telling him a little about it and stuff. And he said, give me 2 boxes of megas. And I'm like, and I said to him after a minute, I was like, you know, those are great and everything. You're going to love them. But $375 on those hobbies is a great price. You're never going to see that. They're already selling on eBay for, you know, double that. And, you know, you're guaranteed an auto in each of those boxes. And he looked at the guy and he said, give me 2 of those. And he didn't get the megas. He bought 2 hobbies. So that guy's going to go rip it. He knows nothing about the product. You know, I told him to go to the website and stuff, but he could hit a 1 of 1. He could hit something in there and, you know, fall in love with this product, but he has no idea what he's hitting. You know, he can't go look at a checklist and see like, oh my God, this card is numbered to 10. This card is, you know, numbered to 5. You know, here's a 1 of 1, you know, that's secretive. I think when we're trying to attract new people into here, I don't think you want to keep a lot of secret. I think you want to engage with people as much as possible and let them know that, you know, the stuff they're hitting is potentially very valuable. And, you know, they're not just kind of, you know, wasting their money on taking a flyer, buying something they're not really familiar with, when in reality, they might be hitting great cards.
So you guys are saying that the Bojack's 101 auto from Alpha has been pulled and somebody don't even realize what they have?
It's possible. We're still trying to find the auto from Alpha.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
It could be sitting in somebody's desk drawer somewhere that bought a jumbo box, had no idea what it was, and was like, "Oh, that's a cool card."
Mm-hmm.
You know, like threw it in their safe or whatever, you know, or in their pile of cards.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's possible. We do know the community is much broader than what we see in Discord and online, right? There's a hardcore group of us that are hanging out there, but it extends way beyond that. So who knows? I mean, real good point, Tex. I don't know what the balance is. I'm back to I like the mystique about it and do a little research, and people know how to check eBay sold listings pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I think they don't necessarily have to give us everything, but I think they should, especially like I said, for new people, they should give us a little more. You maybe, like you said, put a card in the box that says, hey, keep an eye out for these, you know, limited edition cards, you know, of the grandma's linoleum, great grandma's linoleum, and the, you know, heck, the glows, and, you know, whatever else. You know, you don't have to say like, these are all 1 of 1s, these are all secret, you know, whatever, but at least let people know that, you know, just because, you know, they pull something that looks kind of cool, it might be, you know, really limited.
Yeah,
Well,
I think what you're saying is maybe we should respect the ignorance a little bit more. And,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm not opposed to that at all. And look, there's a lot of things that we're learning here. And look, we're deep into this, right? I mean, we live it every day. We're surrounded by. I'm like Seth. Like my save search in my eBay is Bo Jackson Battle Arena howitzer. It's because I'm still looking for the and
Actually, Jason, before you say that, it's like it ties into what you're saying about your eBay search and what Seth was saying people should go to eBay. And that's a perfect time to talk about our sponsor.
Don't guess the price. Look up their value now at radishpriceguide.com.
So I want to say is that when it comes to eBay, Seth, it's one of the things that took Rob so long in perfecting the radishpriceguide.com for Bo Battle is people, it is so hard. I mean, we all know when you went to Target, it was listed under Imagination. It's under the company that's kind of behind Bo Battle, but there's no rhyme or reason to how people list Bo Battle. And so what's great about going to Radish Price Guide, Rob literally has spent now hundreds of hours perfecting the search. So when you go into eBay and you're like, oh, I'm going to look for this, if you do Bo Battle Arena, Bo Jackson Battle Arena, Bo Jackson Battle Arena, it's different results. So that's why Rob's doing it. So Seth, I take issue with you saying like, well, they know how to go to eBay. I'll tell you what, looking for one of ones on eBay is very hard. When you hear there's one up for auction, go put in Bo Battle 1 of 1, Bo Jackson Battle Arena 1 of 1. That's not what's going to come up. Like the Dr. J did not come up instantly. It's like you had to look to find it. So
I couldn't find that Dr. J 1 of 1 when it was on eBay. I looked like twice. I could not find it.
Yeah, and is it under Julius Erving? Is it under Dr. J? Is there doctor with a period? Like it's not that easy. So
yeah, but I think that's fair. I think that's fair to say, and I think that Eric can talk on this better than I can. I think that's fair with every kind of sports card or collectible card, right? I mean, I'm not too familiar with it, but if you look at like a Panini, there's a purple one and a green one and a light blue one and a this and a that and the others. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a commonality with all the sports cards, though.
Well, and yeah, and it's all the sports cards text. I was just going to ask because I know Eric has broken a lot of other sports. There's all these secret 1 of 1s. So, when you're breaking other product, are there secret 1 of 1s in every major card line? And you mentioned we know of you mentioned all the 1 of 1s they do in other product lines. Those are ones we know of, but do they have this many secret 1 of 1s? Like, are there a lot of cards that it's very hard to know? Like, oh, I do have a banger.
I think with sports, the comparable is case hits, not necessarily 1 of 1s, but I would say revolution of the case hit over the last few years. Kabooms, downtowns are absolutely ruling the football card market. And Panini's come out with different case hits for different products. They have color wheels, color blasts. Now Topps is coming out with different case hits that people don't always realize they're case hits. You have to go and if you look at the odds sheet for a Topps or Panini product, it is pages and pages long, sometimes hundreds of pages. So just trying to figure out how rare exactly is this card by looking at, it is 1 in 25,000 packs. Then you've got to do the math backwards to figure out, how many boxes exactly is that and how many were made. Is this an actual case hit or is it not? And I think that's kind of where we are in the sports world, which I would equate to the Boba 1 of 1 situation. I think as long as it's a fine line and you don't go too crazy with it, like right now we're seeing Topps just put out tons of case hits or they call super short prints, which you don't necessarily know if it's a case hit or not. And I think people are having a real hard time figuring out what the value is. And then others are speculating the market doesn't understand what these cards are. They don't know how rare they are. I'm going to go buy them all up. And then in 2 years, everyone's going to realize, oh, wow, there's not very many of those printed. And I think we're seeing that with Battle Arena, especially on eBay. You really have to cast a wide net to look for singles on eBay because they could be in sports. They could be in TCG. Some listings have Bo Jackson. Some listings have Battle Arena. Some have no idea what the name of the card is. And so they just kind of try to describe it themselves. And so you see some wild listings on there, and that's where I think too you get a lot of the wacky pricing of cards being probably undersold.
Speaking of one of ones, I'm just kind of scrolling Discord real quick. The Courthouse one of one got hit, it looks like, by Swan City Cards. And is the Logo Man Hex, is that a one of one?
Ooh.
Because the all day, the Adrian Peterson Logo Man Hex got hit also.
The logo hex for the highlights only. There's only 5 logo hex secret one of ones.
Oh,
So if it's logo 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, it's a one of one. After that, it's not.
okay.
By the way, one thing I just want to talk about, there was one comment in the community where Petrarca was saying, he said, eBay is not reliable with such a small sample size and so much sales going on here in Discord and Facebook. I couldn't disagree more with Petrarca. We've seen this with Creators of the First, where we were talking about Wonders of the First and how big the community is in the world. And everybody said, well, we've got 2,500 people in the Discord. So, that's, I can't remember, they might have gotten up to, I can't remember what it was, but basically there were thousands and thousands off. There's over 20,000. There were at the time over 20,000 people playing Wonders across the country. I think, again, the reminder, I tell Tech Super and Gen Con on Radish Break Room live every Wednesday noon. I'm like, don't bring up the D word, not dirtbag, but Discord, because Discord is used by 17% of American females. It's 23% of American men. And globally, it's a little bit different, but the majority of people don't know what Discord are. They're not on. This is an echo chamber. These are the most rabid fans. People have learned Discord so they could do this. But taking a look I do want to show you guys one thing, which is, let's see, share the screen, is that this is, Rob has added a dynamic sales report to the Radish price guide. So Petrarca is saying all the sales that are taking place internally, but if you take a look at this, if you go to Radish price guide, you'll see at the top, it says sales report. You can go ahead, you can play around, do different stuff there, but take a look at this. Now, this is an outlier, but the week of December 1st, 61,000 just in the Griffey, not adding in the other sets. That's how much the weekly sales volume was. And then when you're looking at 12/8, it's 17,800. But when you look at these numbers, the week before it was 25,000. I know there's a lot happening in Discord, but it's 61,000 is not happening in Discord. 25,000 is. So we are getting to the point where it's saying that the small sample size. Wonders of the First has a small sample size on eBay. Bow Battle Arena is getting past the point. It's not there yet, but it's getting to the point where you can't say it's a small sample size. There's a lot happening on eBay now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, eBay is very, very active with Boba. If you just do the general Bo Jackson Battle Arena search, I mean, it populates with tons of stuff. You have to get much granular to find something specific. But like Sebby said, there's actually, does this tell me how many listings there are? There's 9 pages of listings at 120 listings per page. So what's that tell you?
A lot.
Yeah.
Slappy, quick shout out to the price guide too, because I've used it in the UI. Rob, if you're listening, excellent. It's easy to search. You can search by various weapon types and inserts. It's an excellent guide.
Rob is Rob's a wizard. He's amazing.
Well, and so when you're looking at these eBay sales, is that I think it's a good indicator of where the health is. The fact that we're seeing, and I need to get it. I actually do coding now with AI. So Rob does the big boy coding. I do the coding, and it's great. Like one time I had an issue. I spent hours trying to figure out what's wrong with it. I showed it to Rob in 2 minutes. He's like, yeah, this line, you just need to put in this one thing. Yeah. And
how hard can it be?
Yeah,
right.
But that's the difference. When you think about AI, side note, geniuses like Rob are so much more powerful because he can have AI do so much work for him. But when it makes a mistake, he can spot it instantly. Whereas someone like me, I'm able to create, web pages and modules that I never could do 2 years ago. And it's great. But anyway, I like tracking the sales every day that are, or the listings every day, how many new listings there are. And before Griffey dropped, we were almost down below 100 because we were running out of product. Now we're about 1,500 a day. And that's crazy to me. We never approached that number before. We have 1,500 new listings on eBay every day. And Rob, he really gets into it with the sales report, right? He's looking at the sales volume. He's looking at the sales, right? If we increase our listings every day, but we're not increasing our sales, that's a bad thing. So you get to see the bigger picture. But I'm looking where the pricing is. The pricing's not going down. We're seeing a massive increase in listings on eBay, and the prices aren't going down. If anything, it's giving wider exposure to Bow Battle. And the prices are stabilizing or going even higher.
As far as pricing goes in concern with eBay, you should always check 130 point, because eBay may list like a final sale price is say $300.
Actually,
but it may have actually sold for like $280.
Nope. Radish Price Guide.
Oh.
We have the same data. So if you go to Radish Price Guide,
well, never mind then.
And you see, but thanks for driving people away from the sponsor of the show, Tex.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to tell us to all drink Miller Lite now instead of Pat's Blue Ribbon. But Tex, you missed one of the shows, but I don't think you know
I'm
this.
telling your beer rep.
When you look up a card in Radish Price Guide, did you know Rob has it set now that listed below, if there are listings for the card you're looking at below the last sale, it will pop up and tell you to go snag it. So
I did not know that.
Great feature.
Yeah. So it
happens when I miss shows.
It takes a lot of the work
out of the loop.
Yeah.
But hey, Tex, I know that we're not at the end. We've still got a little bit of time, but I want to get back to Mr. Chewy had a question, and we went past it because there was a lot of discussion. Thank you, everybody in the audience. We appreciate everybody joining us live today. Love seeing everybody on Mainly Breaks YouTube. So thanks for joining us today. I think it's your first time live. But Mr. Chewy says, would love to hear you guys talk about the quality of Griffey compared to Update. What happened, Tex?
Is he saying he believes the quality is less in the Griffey set than it was in Update? Because I actually, from ripping and having the cards and everything, I thought they actually upped the quality a little bit. It feels like the cards are a little, the cards are very sturdy. They're nice cards, but I'm not sure what he exactly means by that.
There were some miscuts I think he might be referring to. There's a couple sheets, I believe, of miscuts. I just equated it to a larger print run. They had a few miscuts happen, but I agree. I think the quality overall of the cards looks better. I think the foils pop more. The artwork is bigger and better. Mm-hmm. I still have yet to open a box or a case even that does not have an auto in it or does not meet what we expect to get out of a case. Again, comparing it to other sports cards like Topps and Panini, I can't tell you the number of times where, you open a box and it's, you're supposed to have 2 autos in it and you get 1. You're supposed to have 1 and you get 0. That's the kind of quality control that I think really, really brings down a product. And we don't see that with Battle Arena. I feel like they've done a good job of keeping that up.
Have there been a lot of miscuts? I've seen a couple, but it doesn't seem like it's anything out of the ordinary for the size of the production.
Tex, you've seen them personally, or you mean you've seen them in Discord?
No, that's the other thing. Everything I've ripped, I haven't had one miscut.
And how much have you ripped, Tex?
I've ripped probably 15 double megas and 5 or 6 hobbies, plus a bunch of blasters.
Yeah, I mean, I've ripped a good bit of both the Update and the Griffey. I've never had any miscuts in Griffey yet. I had a terrible miscut and Update in one of our breaks. But I mean, I'm with Eric on that. I mean, just with the Master, like, I don't know. I mean, Slappy, I'm sure you know the exact increase in production from something you don't know. Oh my, wow. Write that down, guys. Write it down.
Slappy, just make something up. That's what he normally does. He just makes it up. Just make something up.
Yeah, fake it till you make it, buddy. But I mean, look. So I mean, I'm with Eric. I mean, it's a big production, and I know that they did a full court press to get it all produced and packaged and all that stuff. Look, nobody's perfect. So I mean, yeah, there's going to be some miscuts, and with a larger scale, the percentages I'm sure don't change. So your numbers are going to be a little bit higher. But I mean, as y'all were talking, I had a couple cards sitting on the desk and just comparing them. One thing that sticks out that Allison actually caught was, you know, you hear a lot about the ghost cards, right? And they go, oh, is that a ghost card? Is that a ghost card? And I was looking and I pulled one. I'm like, oh, that looks really ghosty. But the regular, you know, paper and battlefuls in the update and maybe the alpha too, I don't have an alpha in front of me. There was just like a pattern, right? Behind the hero. And now it's actually like a watermark of a cityscape with lightning and all. So, I mean, I think it's I'm with Eric. I mean, I think it's an upgrade. And I think people have preferences with heroes and preferences with weapon types and stuff like that. And I think it's just getting used to it and actually just growing with the set. Because, I mean, if you look at, pull up Mull and Bones, for instance. I'm a pirate history guy, so that just kind of pops. The different treatments and different heroes are so different. You know, like the Hex Mull and Bones auto has a black crow on his shoulder, where the bubblegum has a bubblegum parrot on his hat. You know, and one is a black hat, one is a yellow hat. I mean, it's just, I think the quality's there, guys. I think it's there, and
they're awesome.
So, I mean, but I'd like to know, you know, what do you think the gentleman that commented, you know, just to kind of to be, you know, constructive criticism, you know.
Well, I know in the Wonders community. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just reading. I know y'all just put that up. The amoeba miscuts. So, yeah, I mean, I get miscuts, but I mean, y'all have a lot more experience than I do. But I think miscuts are also your mystery 101s. You're super rare that people really do go after them and collect those too. So, I mean, that separates it too.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. In the Wonders community, which is another game that this company makes, another TCG game, which is also collectible as well, not just a game, but people were actually, there were some miscuts in that set, and people were actually valuing those miscuts and trying to collect miscuts. You know, so they were seeing it as, like what you said, you know, they were seeing it as more of a rare card, is, you know, something, you know, akin to like maybe not a 1 of 1, but definitely, you know, something that's much more rare than a regular card. So I can see the same thing happening with Boba.
When I was at the in Las Vegas for the Dragon Cup for Wonders of the First, is that in a sealed event, I opened up a pack, and one of the cards that I opened, it had the back, but it was white on the other side. There was nothing printed on the card. First of all, I was in a sealed event tournament. I was like, hey, can I get another pack? I'm like, I'm down one card compared to everybody else. But you couldn't have just asked for one card. You needed a whole other pack.
So can I get a pack, please? I'm missing one card.
Can I get a fresh box?
But to your point is that Wicked, Jacob, who all know, he organizes the Bow Battle tournaments at SCG Con and the National, and he does it for Wonders. Is he said, you know, Brian Tinsman's going to be here, the creator behind Wonders of the First, and he's like, you should get him to autograph it. And I'm like, that's brilliant, Jacob. And then I had him sign it 2025 because, of course, if the back of the cards are going to stay the same for going forward, then I want to have the year. And so Brian signed it. And I will tell everybody here, I've never had as much feedback on wanting a card when I posted it in the Wonders community and said, look what I got. And everybody's like, what? It came out into the pack like that? I'm like, yeah, blank on one side. And I had Brian sign it. He signed the year. More people wanted to buy that from me than any card. I have a 1 of 1. I have the Theismann Auto 1 of 1. I have a 1 of 1 Stone Foil in Wonders of First. Nobody's wanted a card like they wanted this card. So yes, Tex and Jason, you guys are right. Is like, so it's interesting. Can we say there's any quality issues? There are miscuts. There's a couple things, and it gets brought up to the surface because we're the most rabid community. We're in the small echo chamber. Everything gets elevated. Tech said, like, I've seen the miscuts. He hasn't seen it personally. He's just seen what the 6 of us have seen, the same 2 cards being seen over and over again. Whereas, you know, 100 years ago, they were just seen by the one person who got the miscut. But are there any quality issues anyone's heard about that are actually not a collectible? Like everyone I know, a ghost card, miscut, those are all collectibles. Like people are chasing those, even in Boba.
Yeah, they're like air cards in baseball, football, basketball. You remember the reverse negative cards? I think they were in the 90s. If anybody collected, Juan Gonzalez had a famous one, 1990 Donruss, where the image was flipped on the card. You know, there's like the Frank Thomas where he's got his middle finger. And some of them have no Frank Thomas name on the front, and it's increased the value of all those cards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think, one of the Randy Quaid cards is misspelled, and that one's sought after. You know.
Well, if anybody out there isn't happy with their errors or miscuts, I'll just send them to me. I'll take care of them for you.
I do want to real quick about the quality stuff. When I was grading with alpha and with update, I had really, really high gem rates. So if I'm looking at the current message here, I think print quality in general has declined with Griffey. Now, if you're saying that it's not going to be like, I was getting like 80% gems, and like I'm just a guy looking at cards and sending them in. I'm not like cleaning them. I don't have a magnifying glass. I got to light and check them out. I would say they're probably all going to fall between 8 and 10, and that's really good from a quality standpoint, because you're not going to get all 10s. It's just not realistic. So I'm not so sure if that's what he's referring to.
Everybody sees we have Anthony with us, Cursive. He Cursive Breaks. He's joined us here. He was a little tied up this morning, but was able to make it here. Have you been had an ear on the show while you were away, or you know what we've been talking about?
No, I was off watching paint dry and some business meetings. So.
Actually, we're 45 minutes in.
An email, right?
And Tex, we haven't talked about DBS, and the
haven't.
biggest player on the stage just arrived who's going to know about DBS more than anyone else. And it's important, if you don't play Bow Battle Arena as a game and you're like, I don't care about, what are you talking about, DBS? And that 100% as a collector, it will impact you. It will impact your collection that you hold today. It will impact every card that you rip coming out, every play card that you rip coming out. So let's talk about the DBS. It was announced that the Bow Battle Arena would go the way of their sister project, Wonders of the First, and they would have a deck balancing system, a deck balancing score. There's a whole bunch of variants. Like, what are we going with this on Bow Battle? Deck balancing score, right, Cursive? That's what we're calling it. Is that? And so what happens is, to explain this to everybody, when you play, so your Bow Battle, let's step back. This is Bow Battle Breakers for Breakfast. We're talking about the Bo Jackson Battle Arena sports cards that have been on the scene for a year. Current set out is the Griffey. There are play cards that come with your cards. And if you look at your collectibles, so when you have a Dr. J 1/1 super non-auto, is that there is a power on it, 200 or whatever Dr. J is. And when you're playing a card, you go against somebody else. There's a simple version, just a war version, where you just flip a card against somebody else. Whoever has the higher power wins. And then there's one with substitution, where you go 7 battles and you can you have a bench and you can sub in. But the third level, and the most competitive level, in which there are tournaments going on around the country constantly, is you can take your incredible deck worth $5, $25, $50,000, and you can compete against other people. But one of the things it takes is plays. And it's kind of, they really make it's like baseball euphemisms, and that they do it to make it a game. One of the things that they've said with the DBS, and if you're still following, I appreciate it, because we're really getting wonky, is there were cards that were play cards that were going for $1,200. I don't know if it went even higher, but over $1,000, some of the play cards, because people knew this was a killer play. And so what they decided to do, and it'll be interesting, I think they did it now before everything went out of control, is they said, we need this DBS so that somebody who comes into Bow Battle Arena wants to play, they don't have to buy a $10,000 play deck to be competitive. How do we make it? Because this is a game. How do we make it so the kid, that your son or grandson or a daughter or granddaughter who plays with you, can afford to play with everybody else? Whoever has the dog, mute it. Is that thank you, Seth. So what they're doing with the DBS is they're doing it where play number 1 will be 10 points. Play number 2 will be 20 points. Play number 3 will be 40 points. Play number 4 will be 50. And you add up your 30 plays and you can't exceed a cap. So like in Wonders, you have a 50 card deck. You can't exceed 1,000. You can actually change it, make it whatever you want. You can change it per tournament. But the thinking is, if you have this $1,000 play card, that's going to be worth, say, 250 points of your 1,000-point cap. Then you got to fill it with all these other crappier play cards that aren't as powerful. And so what it does is it changes the balance, and it creates equilibrium between everybody else. And then it also leads people to figure out what play combinations work better. That's what they haven't had to do. They just know what the best plays are. C-Town tells everybody what the best plays are. Everybody goes and buys them. The value goes up, and that's how you have a better chance at winning. And what this is going to do is people are going to have to practice playing with each other to see what combination of plays work better. Cursive, is that pretty much, and I should have got my thoughts together before we went live, but is that pretty much it?
No, you're perfect, Scott. I think you hit the nail on the head. Yes. So one quick correction: the highest DBS play is 110 DBS points.
Wow.
And that is full court press, which if anyone's played the game, they know what full court press is. You lay it down. If you're going first, your opponent cannot play any plays, so they pretty much just skip their turn. Great play. There's some ways to get that back in your hand and play it multiple times. But one thing I do want to note when people are talking about value of cards, we see a lot of breakers, since we are breakers on here, maybe do single shows. And there's always like, hey, this is a short print play or a super short print play, bonus play. Like, this is an amazing play. We talk about it on cards like, hey, not every card is just like amazing banger card, but we do love the art, and there's things to hype about with certain things about cards. Plays are a little different, right? But now you can go to the DBS and say, hey, you know what? I picked a short print play up. What's the DBS on it? Is the DBS really low? Then it's probably not very playable play. If the DBS is a little higher, you know that there's some extra value there, and that may help us from breaker standpoint, kind of figure out the value of these cards too, as far as
Good point.
Is it a $5 card? Is it a $10 card? Well, if this one we know is about a $5, and this other one's DBS is a lot higher, then obviously it's a better card. But you also have to throw in the print run of it. It is going to take, for the player standpoint, us a while to get used to it. I don't think there's been anyone's played yet. There is the online league that is put out by Valley Hit House and Soothing specifically. They're doing a winter league, a holiday bash, and that is going to be out in
should be any I think maybe today, huh? Cursive?
I think it was
It's coming any second to go register.
Yeah, the registrations are open right now. The league is not full. Trying to see if I could figure out a date real quick, kind of scanning through. But they pushed back their main league till next year after the holidays, which was nice. And they're going to do a smaller holiday tournament coming up here soon. December 15th is the official start date, or the entries close on the 15th. So we still have a few more days for that. But that will be the first time that anyone is going to be using the DBS system. And so that is really going to be interesting to see and how everything works out. So,
all right. And so, Anthony, in terms of plays, have you preemptively sold any plays knowing that the value and well, I should ask, do you think the value is going to, you talked about that one killer play. So what are we talking in terms of valuation that you've seen or you're expecting to see a change?
So I don't think any of the high-end plays come down in price. I think some of the low-end plays that we're now going to have to use is almost filler plays, because the reality is a lot of people that have competitive decks have put their decks into the system and they're 400, 500, 600 points over, and that's a lot. When you're talking about the highest plays 100 and you got to shave 600 points off your deck, you're going to have to change a lot of it. So a lot of these lower plays will probably see an increase in value, obviously with monetary there. So that $5 card is now a $20 card. But it's going to be interesting. So I've created my deck, feel pretty good about it, but we won't know until we start playing. And the new meta, those things usually don't take shape until a good month after people start using things, and
right.
They kind of start seeing what works and doesn't.
And the one thing to keep in mind that folks should know is this isn't final. Like when they create this DBS system, it's not final. As they're going to see how it plays. To Anthony's point, is like they'll figure stuff out after a month. They'll find a card that breaks the system, and then they'll change it. So that's the reason why they do this. That Bo Battle and Wonders does it. It's a very dynamic system that allows them to change it frequently. It's a good system so that they can actually get these under control.
There's other card games that use the DBS system, correct? Do we know how often those are updated? Like maybe games that are more established? Is it like every month, every 6 months, once a year?
So for other games that I've played that are like tabletop TCGs, it's usually once a year they put out a new rule book and things change. Mm-hmm. I do know what the team has said with this, that it's going to be very fluid initially. So they released it literally, I think within the next week, they already did an update because they realized some of the higher end plays were costing too much, so they lowered some of them. So there definitely was some significant changes within the first week of them releasing it, and that's really before anyone's even played anything. So I think this is, like Scott said, going to be very fluid. We're going to see quite a bit of changes here, and that fluctuation may only be maybe 5 DBS points per card up and down, but we're talking about building a 1,000-point deck and 30+ cards. That's going to make a huge difference on what, hey, this card's 5 points less. Now I can squeeze in that card and switch it to something that was, I couldn't fit in before.
So, Tex, this is really important to talk about. First of all, if you're listening to us and you're a Bow Battle Arena collector and you were thinking about getting into play, but you're like, oh my God, my head is spinning listening to all this. One of the things you have to understand is there are deck builders being created that are already created, that are being created, so that you will not have to figure all this out. I know that, we had a comment in here by Bo where he talked about his Post-it notes on his plays. But the reality is you're going to be able to just click, click, click on a screen on the plays, and it's going to tell you you're at 1,050. You need to change your plays in order to make it. And then you unclick something, you click something else to get below 1,000. So this is the just starting out. They don't have Wonders of the First is all about game strategy. So for them to do DBS, that's in their genetic code. For Bow Battle Arena, I mean, it's not primarily a game. It's primarily a sports card collectible. Mm-hmm. So they have the expertise in-house to get this right, but just know that this is just starting up because the game's really blowing up. And that brings the bigger question. And I'm curious, Big U and Seth and Eric, my only concern about what they're doing with the DBS is I was excited at Baltimore when I saw Anthony and everybody else who was traveling to Baltimore. And I was like, wow, this game is strong enough. People are traveling 10, 12 hours to play. And the excitement of seeing the Magic the Gathering players come over to play the game. I'm like, this is a real game. This is actually, it's not just a side circus. It's actually going to be one of the 3 circles in the main rings in the circus. And I'm like, this is going to take off. But will DBS stifle that? Because let's be honest, the people who are getting into Bow Battle Arena, there's some people who played Magic the Gathering, but this is for a lot of people who've never played a TCG in their life. They just have really nice cards, and for the first time in your life, you have a collectible card you can do something with, other than put in your gun safe or put on your desk and stare at every once in a while. You can do something with your sports card collectibles. So are we going to kill this emerging gaming part of Bow Battle by bringing this? It's no doubt about it. It's complex. DBS is complex. And are we going to kill that? Are we going to kill it before we have escape velocity for the game?
I mean, it's a good question. I think that the team has been very clear in saying there's still going to be something for everyone. There's still going to be rookie mode. There's still going to be, I think, 135 power and under tournaments or different divisions. So if you are a casual player, you're going to be able to find a lane, even if it's something that's a little bit less expensive, and that'll be there too. And they've said that a few times, and I would imagine they're going to stick with that.
Yeah,
go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I don't think that what you don't know doesn't hurt you, right? So if you're just getting into it and you want to learn, and you didn't know that there wasn't a DBS system in place before, and you enter into an arena and that's just part of the game, I don't think that it affects it. I mean, it's just that's what it is.
Yeah, so I was talking to someone previously about this system because TCGs and DBSs are new to me. Someone mentioned that if you are watching the World Championships of Pokemon, the decks that these guys are using aren't the most expensive cards. They're very affordable decks to build. It's just a strategy and kind of play testing it. Where there are some games, and I think Magic may be one of them, that it gets very pay to win. And that's not something that's just TCG specific. You can go in video games, and there's plenty of different areas where they're pay to win. And like Scott said, there's a ton of people who traveled, and everyone's deck is very similar. And everyone's deck had multiple 500 plus play cards in it. And it very much felt play to win, myself included. The first time we went to SCG in Baltimore compared to Vegas, I said, hey, I'm missing a handful of cards. These are big board cards. I need to get them to make sure that I'm competitive, excuse me. And now with DBS, I can't fit every single one of those cards in my deck. I got to pick and choose which brings the amount you need to spend on plays in a deck down, which is nice. So I think it's a plus. I'm looking forward to it as much as I'm like, man, I just spent X amount on this card and now I can't fit it into my deck. Like the value of that card doesn't go down. The resale market on that card is still what it is because it's still an amazing card. I just have to pick and choose, where I'm going with it.
I think that's a good point, Anthony, because if you're spending, and I mean, Slappy, you threw some numbers out to build a spec deck up to 160. Look, it's not cheap when you get into that 145 to 160 range, right? So if you're investing money in the heroes, and then I look at like Anthony's deck or the big players' decks, and like, man, they got a copycat, they got a drought, they got and you start listing these cards. Well, you've already spent a good chunk on your heroes, and then you're telling me I got to go spend even more on plays. So I think I think this kind of helps, with, hey, focus on your heroes, get those nailed down, and then you don't have to spend as much on the play side.
I agree with what you guys are saying from the cost standpoint. I'm just saying from the technical side is they're uncomfortable with the play and they're like, all right, I can do it. And then you're like, okay, now that you've built your deck, now I'm going to introduce this system behind the scenes and you have to figure that out to compile your deck. I'm still not convinced what you guys are saying. You're right on the cost. That's a help, but I'm not sure on the technical. One thing I want to clear up the confusion, because it frustrates me every time I see somebody mention this in Discord because they get it wrong every time. When people talk about what the valuable plays are, everybody, first of all, you get some people just say 1 through 16, but most people will say through 32. And that is not accurate. Is that you have to think about it like March Madness, is that 1 through 16, those are the super short print. 17 through 32 is the short print. And 33 through 64 is rare. Get that right. 33 through 64 is not printed like 65 through 100. It's just, I can't tell you how often that people act like rare's nothing. Like, send me all your cards between 34 and 64. I will or 33 and 64. I'll gladly take all those plays. Eric, is that we were talking about the play, and you obviously have kind of a different group, and you have a very large whatnot following. You brought a lot of people over from different sports. How do you think, like, do you just not even consider the playability of the game and you just focused on the collectability? So this DBS is just background noise and you don't think it's going to make a difference with you and your crowd?
No, not necessarily, because I know it's a huge part of what Battle Arena is, and there's still a lot of people in breaks and buying singles that want those cards to build their decks with. I actually do a lot of giveaways with the plays. I don't sell them. I'll throw them up as giveaways during the entire show, and I usually will keep the 32 and under, and I'll use those as giveaways, or I'll put up a lot of like 5 to 10 different plays and try to talk about at least what the play does. Now, yes, half the room, if they get the all play spot in a break, they're disappointed. And then there are a few people that are like, well, that's a money spot because I know I'm going to guarantee that I'm at least getting something out of this that's going to be, worth money that I can either trade or sell. Or they want to build a deck, and so they want that play spot so they get that bulk of plays from whatever the break is. But yeah, I definitely don't ignore it. I understand what the value is behind certain plays. I tried to talk to a lot of people that played the game during alpha update to understand, what plays are more valuable than others. Soothing and I talked a lot about, which plays would be worth more, which plays, people are going to think are worth more than they are, and things like that. So I think it's a big factor. But yeah, I think 75% of the room in the break is probably not very sensitive to that. And then the other smaller group of players are looking for those cards.
I really appreciate, Tex, you opening the show talking about the one-on-ones. Like, the title was about the DBS shakeup, but I'm glad you started talking about the one-on-ones, because this is, if people made it this far, then then we're grateful to them. By the way, we were talking about the one-on-ones, and we talked about that most people don't know there's $8.99, but if you want to know the breakdown, you can always go to radishdigital.com. We've been tracking the one-on-ones since the alpha set. I used to, it got to be so much when I was doing the update, like it's 24 hours a day on eBay, Facebook, and Discord. And so now I do an update every couple days. So you go there. But what's interesting is you can break it down if you go to radishdigital.com and you go up to Bo Jackson 1-of-1s. We've got it for each set. But the bigger thing here is it shows the breakdown, right? It shows the super autos, like how many have been ripped, and you've got the progress bar, but it shows you how many there are of each. So for instance, like the Icon Hex, right? It's 0 of 5 have been hit on that. And then it talks about the logo hexes. There's 71. But anyway, you can go there and you can see that. But I wanted to mention that. So Tex, I know we're at an hour. I don't know where you want to go. I don't want to cut anybody off if they have any final thoughts on DBS, but Tex.
Yeah, I say let's go to final thoughts. Let's. I think it's been a great show, very informative. Seth, we'll start with you. What are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. So I'm playing the Soothing League. So I've played a bunch casually, and I'm excited to get my feet wet and actually doing a little bit more competitive play. And I may need some help, guys, with what the plays are. But real quick, Slappy, I was going through the plays, and to your point, I was finding some in like the 80s that I'm like, oh, this seems like it could be a really sneaky good play. So we'll see. I could be wrong. Last thought is I'll be breaking Sunday, 6 p.m. It'll be fun. See me there.
Excellent. Big U, final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Griffey set's been exciting. You know, I like the topic of the 1-of-1s and the unknown and, you know, people's thoughts on that. And then DBS system, you know, we played in Vegas, Alsa and I, and learning from the guys and watching people play like Anthony and Soothing, you know, was fun and learning it. And I think that leveling the playing field is a good thing overall. I know it's difficult for some of the bigger guys who've been playing since the beginning because they have made an investment. And but I think it'll be overall good for the community. And you know, just excited where Bo Jackson Battle Arena is going with the Griffey set and beyond. You know, I'm a football guy, so super excited about Tecmo coming. And you know, yeah, super excited about that. So
Tecmo's gonna be wild.
Yeah, it's gonna be off the charts, crazy, like incredible. So you know, thank y'all for having me, and we're doing our single shows. You know, we do our single shows on Wednesdays at Bo Jackson Battle Arena single shows. I have to clarify that sometimes because there's some smart Alex in the room wearing Santa hats that want to just say something. But and you know, doing our breaks, we do them on Monday with Anthony. We kind of do a little team effort there, and Saturday morning too. No, mainly would never be a smart Alex ever.
I'm not smart enough to be smart.
Slappy, aren't I? Wait, is it backwards to me? Oh, it's backwards to me. Sorry, Seth. I was trying to point to Slappy.
Yeah, and actually, you want to know what? Since they brought it up, Tex, let's just show it quick. The Boba Leagues, which is if you head to you, obviously they have Soothing has his own, and Matt Cantrell have their own Discord. But for folks watching this, and you don't want to be in Discord, there's a way to get there. You can, I should say that, like, I'm not sure if you have to check anything in their Discord, but in terms of registering for the league, is that if you head to bobaleagues.com, there's a Google sign-in, so you don't need to create a whole new password. You can just do that. And then if you browse leagues, you can see Holiday Bash Online Tournament presented by Valley Hid House. So that's at bobaleagues.com/leagues. I'll put that in the comments. But anyway,
is there a cost to join that?
I don't think so.
No,
it's free. It's open to anybody.
No cost. And they're working with the team now, the official Boba team, to get prize support for that.
I saw they put out a list of I don't know if it was a finalist, but at least potential prizes they're going to have for this season in these tournaments. So that's great, though.
Hey, and before they do the final goodbyes, there was one question we didn't get to from the audience. Rabanero, he came over from Wonders. He's a player, but his question was, is there really a base card non-foil crossbow worth 200, card 185? And I'm going to put that out there. Maybe one of you gentlemen can look at that before we come back. I want to give Rabanero that answer. Actually, I'll tell you what, can you folks follow up in the chat afterwards? And in the YouTube video, can you guys respond to Rabanero? Just so we don't have to do it right now live, but do you guys mind responding to him?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Thank you. Sorry, Tex, back to you.
No problem. Eric, we left off with you. Final thoughts.
A good week of breaks. Excited to get more into Griffey as we get deeper and rip more packs. How many supers are still out there to be found? 820. I'm ready to find a few of those. I'm going to start today here in about an hour. let's figure out how many boxes we have to open until we hit a super. But no, I think with Griffey, it's been fun playing with different break formats. I did a pick your city. I've done parallel. I've done power breaks, double hero team, all of that. So it's interesting to see, what the popularity of each break is. And I put up polls in the stream to see kind of what people want to do next. So I've been leaving it pretty flexible in terms of that. And Saturday morning single show, I run a rapid fire single show. I try to hit 100 auctions in an hour. So it is quick and it is fun and it is high energy. So definitely if you're up Saturday morning, come check that out.
Yeah.
And apparently the poll in your audience told you to wear a Mainly Breaks hat, huh?
That's right. Team Mainly, baby. Let's go.
I love it. Slappy, you would, if you want one, we can send one your way. We can do that.
I'll wear it.
All right.
Anthony Cursive, you joined us a little late today, but your information on the DBS was wonderful. Do you have any final thoughts for us?
Yeah, so I wanted to answer Scott's question on the DBS. So any of the players, I will say nobody seemed excited with the new DBS system of some of the people that had their competitive decks. But I will say that I've been pushing the team and kind of everyone that I talk to that the 160 spec should be their flagship gameplay. It's the easiest to get into. It's the most competitive. Should be in the money at National, personally.
Oh, and by the way, Anthony, since you're talking about competitive decks, I was going to mention this earlier, but we should get this information out, even though it pains me because I wanted to take them all. I picked up a 145 for $28 last night. Just so folks know, that continues to be the gatekeeper for your spec deck. 145 is the hardest power to get. They didn't overprint it in Griffey in proportion to make up for what happened. So for spec decks, it's very hard. And actually, yeah, I mean, the 145 I got was last night. It was an alpha set, so which is great that it helped me. But 145,
humble brag.
If you can get a 145, you want to pick that up every chance you can. Sorry, Anthony.
No, you're good. You're good. That is a very great point. But again, flagship 160 spec, easiest to get into. I think it should be in the money at National. So if the team's watching, hearing that's just me sharing my thoughts. I will say though, from feedback that I got from some of the competitive players, the Apex tournament, they're really hoping there's no DBS system, and that's like your no hands, all hands off, like, for full brawl, you can do whatever you want. And I would agree with that. So I think there should be a difference there. If you're spending 20, 30,000 on a deck, then you should be able to spend 10,000 on some plays.
Tex, you have an interview coming up with somebody who will know that answer. That's a question.
I do.
That.
Coming hopefully next week.
Nice. And then last thoughts on me breaking. Again, Jason said we do Mondays and Wednesdays. I think Mondays typically is single shows, but there's been a big ask in the community for doing pack auctions. So not doing the heroes and things like that. So this Monday I'm going to do packs. We'll see how that goes. So I'm for it. The ask is there. So
what kind of packs?
Will they be hobby or booster?
So there'll be hobby, and
there's no booster. There's no booster
or blaster.
No blaster. I don't typically handle blasters in my breaks or anything.
You're not selling 130 spots for a blaster?
I am not. I'm not. So it'll probably be
hot dog spots.
Only hobby or a mix of hobby and double megas. But we'll be doing packs, and we'll try to figure out a game that works within Whatnot's kind of regulations that they've put out. So we'll try to make it fun. But this Wednesday, before I lead into Big U show, should be cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. This was wonderful. It's been a great week for everybody, it sounds like, break-wise. And you guys hit some bangers for some people, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And on behalf of me and Slappy, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And this has been Radish Digital. This has been, what do we call this thing?
Every
oh
week,
my God, I'm sick. I can't think. I'm in a fog.
So
Breakers backstage.
We can't relate. There's a little bit of
I have a fever.
There's a Christmas.
I'm delirious.
So Radish is going to drop a Christmas present. And I can't wait. Everybody on the stage has been involved in the creative process to it. But my favorite part is, guys, there's something as part of the creative process that will mock Tex Hooper for never being able.
Morning light is rising and the breakers start to show. pushing on. Card society shakes the ground and simulates the crowd. Bull battle breakers for breakfast, powered by Radish Digital. They pull the hits, they chase the dreams, and they stand unshakable. One-on-ones and monster pulls, the moment steal the night. Defenders of Bull Battle, they fight the good
No, it's not a Hex Auto! It's the Raw Hambo! Oh, the purple! I swear!
We rip these
mighty.
packs for you!
Alright, I owe you. Alright, Hambo. I got it. You didn't get the spot this time. It's the old eye, I got you. Satellite. Dang it. You know, we're not mad. We got 2 autos in this box.